Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Diane Hayden, publisher of Essential Naples magazine. Welcome to our weekly podcast where I interview our expert writers and contributors for Essential Naples on topics ranging from natural medicine, stress reduction, green living, spirituality, and how to live a healthier, more holistic lifestyle. I'm excited to have with me today Lynn Brewer. She is the owner of Cloud9 Float Spa and Wellness Center located in Fort Myers. The concept was simple enough to create a wellness program that takes a holistic approach utilizing float tanks, acupuncture, therapeutic massage, nutrition, and coaching. Lynn found the best in the business and put together a dream team who are dedicated on improving the lives of clients mentally, physically, and spiritually. So welcome, Lynn. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Diane.
Awesome. So I'm sure people are super curious about what a float spa is. I mean, we've been around it for years, and it's always funny when I talk to people and they look at me like, what is that? So
I hear you.
Yeah, we have a bunch of questions about floating. I kind of want to just back up for a minute though, and just talk a little bit about you and, your passion, and how did you, even come up with this idea to create this whole center around floating and all the other great things that you utilize there?
Well, I would like to say that it was just, a lightning bolt that struck me, but that's not true. I have been floating for over 30 years, and when I made the transition full-time down to Fort Myers, Florida, I was finding I was having to travel 2 to 3 hours to find a nice float spa or health spa.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, I already have one business here in town, and I talked to my partner and I said, hey, how would you like to be partners in a float spa? And they're going, are you crazy?
Yep.
And I said, yeah, probably, but how would you like to do that anyway? And so therefore, we now have a float spa and wellness center in Fort Myers, Florida, that people do not have to try to figure out how to get to some of the other major cities in order to take care of themselves.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So we have magazines, as you know, in Connecticut and Portland, Maine. And there, right now in Connecticut, there are only, I think, 3 spas in the whole state. So,
Wow.
it's definitely not, for us being in the holistic realm for so many years, we're familiar with floating, but it's definitely, I think, something that people are not that aware of. They don't really understand, what the benefits are. How does it work? I've even had people say to me, oh, like, do you drown in there? It's like, no.
Or I've had
It's very
people
boring.
say, well, I put Epsom salts in my bath.
Yeah, isn't it the same?
Yeah.
Not quite. Not quite. So let's talk about the concept in and of itself. So
Mhm.
like a floating tank, and explain to us a little bit about what, describe, paint the picture. What is that? What does someone expect when they actually come in for a float?
Well, we here at the Wellness Center have 2 different types of pods. We have a pod that is enclosed, which is called the Dream Pod. That is the pod that Joe Rogan and Tom Brady both have and utilize daily. And that is a pod that contains 10 inches of water and 1,000 pounds of medical grade magnesium sulfide. And the other one we built one because there are a lot of people around here who do have therapies and so forth. And this helps in so many areas of people's bodies that we did an open pod. It's glassed and closed, so it looks more like maybe the spa that people would have on their lanais or out on their, in their yards or porches or wherever. It's more open. It's less claustrophobic if one is claustrophobic. But that contains 10 inches water and 3,000 pounds of magnesium sulfide simply due to the fact that it is a larger tank. So consistency-wise, both of them have exactly the same percentage of magnesium sulfide in them.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up or mentioned, people being concerned about being claustrophobic. I would say I'm kind of a borderline person like that. And that was one of my initial concerns, like, how small is this thing? What is it going to be like? And I have to say, I've obviously seen your two, and I've been in, a number of different ones, and that is not even an issue at all. I mean, I feel like they're very open, even the pods, and
They
so
truly are, and I think that's due to the fact that, of the height,
right.
that you don't feel hemmed in.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Whether, even some of them though, widthwise, like, and lengthwise, I mean, there's a lot of space in there. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
There is.
it's not, I like, some people are like, well, is it like a bathtub? I mean, to me, it's much bigger than a bathtub. Most of
Oh,
them are
yeah.
much bigger than a bathtub. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And I know people have said, oh, I use Epsom salt in my bath. And, so, the amount of Epsom salt that we're talking about here far exceeds what you would put in your bathtub.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. They couldn't put enough in one of their shopping carts.
right, exactly. So, uh, one of the questions I was going to ask you is what exactly is in the water one floats in? So is there anything else that you want to talk about related to that, or?
Well, basically, the magnesium itself is medical grade and has been molecularly broken down so that the largest organ of our skin, of our body, which is our skin, can readily absorb and retain. And that's the big part right there, is the retention, because we're all magnesium poor. Or I would say it's been proven over 80% of the people in our country. So outside of that, 10 inches of water, there is obviously bromine. We have 2 top grade industrial filters in each pod. You can find pods with 1. I preferred the one with 2. And then there's also an ultraviolet system in each one of our pods. And then with 1,000 pounds of magnesium sulfite, you obviously, just put it in the Dead Sea that's been sanitized.
Right. Yeah. That's the next question I was going to bring up with, everything going on with COVID-19 right now. People who are listening to this in the summer of 2020, that, as we're doing this right now, I'm sure one of the first questions are for many people, well, what kinds of things are spas doing to make sure that it's, people can feel safe and it's sanitized and that kind of thing. So tell us what kinds of steps that you either already had in place or you've implemented.
Well, we've always been above CDC standards to begin with. But the pods themselves, when you look at it, people don't think twice about getting into a pool, which sanitizes itself once every 8 to 10 hours. And these pods are immaculately sanitized in 6 to 8 minutes.
Wow.
And so we don't ever let anyone into a pod until it has been setting at least 15 minutes.
Right.
We use just top-notch hospital sanitizers on everything else. There isn't a surface in our spa that does not get sanitized upon people leaving every time. So if there's a germ in here, God bless it.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny that you said that about pools, because I think people don't even think twice about that.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and
Very true.
that's really important. So let's talk about, why to float. What are the benefits of floating?
They are just immense. The benefits are truly, truly immense. Not only does it help with stress, chronic fatigue syndrome, it helps with TMJ, anxiety, panic attacks, arthritis, asthma, all kinds of things. There isn't a cell in our body that does not utilize magnesium. So when you start thinking about kidney diseases and migraines and musculoskeletal conditions, nervous problems, osteoporosis, Parkinson's disease. I mean, it goes on and on and on with proven scientific backup that the infusion of magnesium through the float pods will help these people with these situations.
Yeah, I think that, you mentioned earlier that most of us are magnesium deficient. I think people don't think about these, what I'll call smaller minerals that are
Correct.
have so many important functions in the body. I mean, everybody's heard about being vitamin D deficient, or having deficiency in different nutrients and then things like that, protein deficiencies. But we don't think about the magnesium, the calcium, the different minerals that are so important in everything from cardiovascular physiology to muscular physiology, why people have restless leg syndrome, or why people have arrhythmias, or so many things that these little minerals play like these minute functions in. And something so simple to to rectify by just going to a float tank and floating, even once a week.
And and the recommendation is, if you want to start building, is once every other week. Now, the people that I have with MS, or have heart problems, or migraines, Alzheimer's, early Alzheimer's, arthritis, any of those, they have found the benefit of floating weekly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you, how often would you recommend? So
Mm-hmm.
so typically, just for stress reduction, that kind of thing, it's every other week, or even
Correct.
I would say, even if someone can only get there once a month, hey,
it's better than not at all.
Yep. Just like with massage, when I'm talking to people about massage, I think people get in their heads that a spa, like massage,
Mm-hmm.
floating, that kind of thing, is a luxury, like
It's
getting
not.
their nails done.
Mm-hmm.
And
No.
it's right. We need to start thinking of it as a like a health necessity, because think of it like going to the doctor and getting your blood work checked regularly, or
Absolutely.
going to doing therapy, or anything like that. We need to put these types of services into that realm, because then I think the mindset shifts to, oh, okay, I'm doing something that is genuinely going to take care of my body and help me on a number of levels, versus, well, that's kind of a luxury and I'll treat myself once in a while, or or I don't even treat myself because I don't do those kinds of things.
Correct. And if people really stopped and thought about it, when you encompass every cell in your body, that includes brain, heart, all of your organs. And if you can take a pill, it doesn't take us long. Let's be realistic. It doesn't take long at all to pop a pill and swallow it. But that's just covering what the problem is. It's not actually getting down and doing anything for the problem.
Exactly. It's like putting a Band-Aid on it.
Correct.
That syndrome, or whatever it is always going to be there. It's
Correct.
just,
Well, there's an awesome book that was put out by Carolyn Dean. She's an MD like you yourself. And it's called The Magnesium Miracle. And if anybody truly wants to learn about all of the pluses to floating and absorbing the magnesium, that is an awesome book. The thing of it is people cannot orally uptake enough magnesium to change the things that are wrong with them. When it's absorbed by the skin, it does not go through the digestive system, so therefore you can absorb more. So floating for 60 minutes has been scientifically proven that your body can absorb up to 27% of the needed magnesium.
That's great. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because there's a lot of vitamins and minerals that we just don't absorb, whether it's a genetic issue for some people, like B vitamins, some people don't, absorb them efficiently, or like you're saying with magnesium, because people might say, well, I'm just going to go, I'll get a vitamin supplement and I'll just take my magnesium orally. But
Correct.
That's absolutely really important for people to know that, it doesn't get absorbed that easily. We can't possibly take enough if we have true deficiencies. And what a better way anyway to absorb it through the skin than to have go through the digestive system.
Absolutely. Not only does it do the inside of your body lots of good, but it also, you come out and your skin just feels awesome. Your you're relaxed, you've given your brain a chance to shut down for a while and not have to be thinking about everything in the world. We have found around here that even the optometrists or the obstetricians have found out what floating can do for their pregnant patients.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And it's not, and it's really interesting because some of the tests and scientific research that's been coming out proves that children are closer to their mother if she has floated, simply because I guess there's some sort of connection there. And while the mother's in, she can also hear the baby's heartbeat.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
My
It is.
guess would be it has something to do with the meditative state. You know, when you have like true sensory deprivation like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's I liken it to like a deep meditation. And I mean, some people even fall. I didn't, but some people even fall asleep in the float tank.
Oh, I have people that just say, hey, just lock me in. I'll be here in the morning and have coffee ready.
Right.
Going,
Absolutely.
no, we can't do that.
Right. Right. That's so funny. But yeah, and you know, that's how safe it is essentially. You know, you're floating, there's no chance of, you know, you going under the water or anything like that.
No,
And I do have had people say that they've fallen asleep. It's so relaxing. And but even if you don't fall asleep, you still get into such a deep relaxation meditative state that I can see, you know, what benefits for everyone. But what you were saying earlier about you know, pregnant women and just being able to connect, that's what I think probably is what is enabling that.
true. We had, and it was really quite interesting because this is the first year we've been open. And as many people are aware, like the Minnesota Twins and that absolutely winter down here. So we had the sports clubs are looking at putting pods in their home bases while they're there for their athletes because they have seen what floating can do for some of the sports injuries.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really is. I think there's just going to be more and more, you know, research and information coming out about this is, you know, in I would say the next few months to year, whatever, as far as all of these different benefits. There's just so many. I mean, we could talk for an hour on this topic for sure about,
Very
you know,
true.
we could go into like all the different, you know, chronic issues that people have and go through what the benefits are. But I wanted to touch on a couple. What would you say, you know, just off the top of your head, like, are there certain chronic issues or syndromes that you think you have seen people have the best results with through floating or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have some things that have just made me drop my jaw. Um, you know, one of them is depression, fatigue. Um, we have had people that have crippling arthritis who have almost have reduced their medication to the point where it's no longer affecting their livers. We have had people with MS actually say that their pain tolerance has been so much improved that they no longer have the leg pain and so forth that they had previously. We've had people with Parkinson's say that they have definitely noticed a difference through floating. People with migraines. These are just some of the people that have come through our door that have just made such a difference in their lives by floating.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think, you know, that's what people want to hear. They want to hear that, you know, they, whatever their particular health issue is that they're dealing with, they want to know, you know, how has it helped other people?
Correct, correct. And all of these people, none of them came in here thinking that this was going to be their solution. And that was kind of the ironic part of it was one person came in here actually wagging his finger at me and saying, I am going to give you one opportunity, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 3 months. I will float twice a week for 60 minutes each time, and if I don't see a difference, I will never be back. Well, that same gentleman is now on our video that's within our waiting room, and he's the one of the people who have gotten completely off of his rheumatoid arthritis medication through his doctor's approval, of course, and is actually starting to live life again.
That's amazing. But
It is.
what I'll say about him though is at least he made a commitment. You know, I
True.
mean, even though he was doubtful,
Yes.
skeptical, that's probably the better word. He made a commitment that he was going to do this for a certain number of months. And I'm sure that he started seeing results. You know, I've had people see results after just one float tank. I've had,
Yeah.
people tell me stories like that.
And he did. And, we have since become very good friends with our families. But it was just kind of interesting to watch, excuse me, how he perceived this as just another thing to try.
Right. Well, like I said earlier, I think for a lot of people, it falls into that realm of, luxury. I'm not going to, it's like massage. I'm not going to treat myself, that kind of thing. Or even people are skeptical, like so I've been in holistic medicine for years, and my biggest pet peeve with this industry is that there are because so much of it is not regulated, like not FDA regulated, especially with supplements and that kind of thing. There's a lot of garbage out there, quite honestly, that,
Oh yeah, all you have to have is a star that says it worked wonders. And
Exactly. So people, I'm sure, have had, situations where they've spent a lot of money on something to try, whether it's a product or a service, and it didn't work, and, that kind of thing. And so, people, I think, are a little hesitant. And let's face it, traditional doctors don't know a lot about these types of remedies. And so they're not really recommending it to their patient either. So,
well, that's not, in their defense. Okay, because we do need good doctors. That's not what they're taught.
Right. Yep. This is true for sure.
So, I fortunately have a doctor that would say to me, well, I wouldn't care if I never saw you again professionally.
Right. That should be the ultimate goal, correct?
Yeah.
To get you healthy so you don't have to keep coming back.
There you go.
Yep. Exactly. I wanted to just ask you a little bit about the other services that you do, but is there anything else that you wanted to mention as far as floating that we didn't get to?
Well, we have kind of a triangular approach to a lot of things. We do have a chiropractor with us who works with a method called ABC. And it's an alignment method. He's one of 2 chiropractors in the state of Florida that does this particular type of aligning. And his patients have been seeing just tremendous results with seeing him and then floating afterwards. We have 2 top-notch masseuses that work in sports and in all kinds of medical situations. So they are truly holistic massage therapists. And between the 3, if people would learn that what we do is not a luxury, that it is part of them taking care of themselves, their lives would so improve that it's beyond thinking about, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great. I like the different pronged approaches that you have there, and kind of a one-stop thing. People can try a lot of different services and get help for many different issues, for sure.
Well, we can, because we have one of our masseuses works primarily with patients who have had either mastectomies or have had cancer surgeries, and works with scar tissue and so forth and so on. And her addition of the floating, along with what she does, she has just seen people recover so much quicker.
Yeah, that's amazing too. I mean, as we keep talking, there's just so many different, issues, health issues, diseases, things like that this can help with. It's just awesome. So more people need to know about it for sure.
Well, we hope that they hear about us and give themselves an opportunity for a healthier them.
Right. Do you how does it work as far as, people can come in and actually just float once just to try it if they want to, right?
Of course.
Yep.
hmm
Yep.
Although those are far and few between, it almost becomes an addiction because people feel so wonderful. It's not only today when they get out of the pod that they feel wonderful, but they normally experience the best nights of their sleep that they've had for a long time. They wake up in the morning and they feel so much better. The little aches, the pains, the groins and groans and moans that they have seem to be reduced. And this will last for 2 to 3 days. And the more often you float, the longer the sessions seem to last.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I think, like meditation, the more often
Mm-hmm.
you do it, the benefits keep getting better and better. You find it easier to get into that more relaxed state quicker. And,
Correct.
it's cumulative. I'm sure that the effects are cumulative for sure.
Yeah. And really, someone who only floats for 30 minutes and only tries it once is really not doing themselves a service at all. When you first get in, it's like, well, what's going to happen next? Or am I supposed to be doing this or that? Or your mind just takes itself a while to shut down and realize this is all there is. All I have to do is take care of myself.
Right. Yep. All you have to do is just lay there and float.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure that anyone who tries it would be hooked for sure, because I know I was the first time that I tried it. I love it.
As was I.
Yeah. So much so that you opened your own.
There you go.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
can't find it, then you build it.
Build it. Exactly. Well, this has been awesome. A wealth of information, and I hope people are excited about connecting with you. So tell us how people can find out more information if you want to give them, any website or email, or how can they connect with you?
Sure, they can check us out, number one, through this fabulous new magazine that has just hit in Naples. And I would hope that you were going to tell our listeners a little bit more about that.
Yep.
We do have a website, just C9, the letter C, the number 9, floatspa.com. Our telephone number is 239-887-4161. And the easiest way that we have found to make an appointment is through an app. And the app is just a kind of a square blue that has a C and a 9 in it. And that'll just direct you right to everything that you want to see.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, the nice new magazine that you made reference to is Essential Naples Magazine. We just launched, literally just started the distribution for the first issue last week. And it's been flying off shelves from Naples to Fort Myers. People can find us at essentialnaples.com and also our Facebook page at Essential Naples Magazine. And this recording will be emailed out to everybody, also up on our website and social media. And again, thank you, Lynn, so much for being with us today. Cloud9 Float Spa and Wellness Center in Fort Myers. And we hope everybody will check you out soon.
Thank you, Diane. It's been my pleasure. Look
Awesome.
forward to seeing you again soon.
You too. Everybody have a great day.